Shalawama, Shalawama. I'm DrYasapa from Zion Law School. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Astrotheology. This is live stream presentation number 6. All right. This is debriefing where we are discussing, not reading, but discussing. But today we're going to do some reading because there's some really detailed stuff, and I don't want to leave any of the detailed stuff out. I want you to have it. Let me remind everybody, this is a course that I could very easily charge a lot of money for. But you're getting it for free. So take advantage of it and call your friends and your family and tell them to join this live stream, okay? Nobody has given you this, and I'm giving it to you at a cost. And I haven't mentioned what this is costing me to do this, all right? But my life is becoming more problematic because I'm putting this information out. So use your intelligent mind, and you should be able to understand what I'm saying to you. So you're getting this for free. Make sure you tell everybody this is for free. Don't think that it's nothing. Don't devalue it because it's free, all right? Don't make that mistake. All right, so call people, tell them to come here and participate in this live stream. Thank you to everyone who has enrolled, or rather subscribed to our 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. This is our streaming course. So thank you, everybody, for your support and also for your effort that you are showing, demonstrating that you are returning to the Most High by reclaiming your language. Your language is not biblical Hebrew. How many times do we have to say that? When will this become clear amongst our people? When will it become clear that biblical Hebrew and modern Hebrew is not ours, it is theirs? Ancient Ibaryath is ours. So let that stuff go. Let their stuff go. Be happy to get what you are having returned to you. All right, but you cannot get it back if you don't pull the trigger and subscribe. Where else are you going to get it? That's the point. All right. So thanks, everybody, for your support in subscribing 101 Ancient Ibaryath. This is not just for the House of Yasharallah. This is for all Moors. This is ancient Canaanite Phoenician. Ancient Canaanite Phoenician. If you are a Moor, if you are sprung from the soil, Genesis chapter 2, then this comes from your blood, your family, all right? We need to make that clear. We need to make that clear. There is no division. This is ancient Phoenician, okay? This is Canaanite Phoenician, all right? Is it clear? Biblical Hebrew is made up language. Modern Hebrew, made up languages, all right? They are modern. How many times do we have to say that? Me personally, I'm getting tired of saying it. Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. Jeremiah was a contemporary. He lived, that is to say, he lived around the time when the whole Babylonian captivity thing started jumping off. And he wrote that warning in Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. If you don't know what Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8 says by now, go back and watch any of our live streams. All right. You'll learn what Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8 says. All right. Biblical Hebrew came during or shortly after Babylonian captivity, and they have a whole story that goes along with that to explain it, okay? To explain it, all right? Not explain, to explain it, okay? So Jeremiah didn't know anything about it, and if Jeremiah didn't know anything about it, surely Moses didn't know anything about it. So surely, therefore, it had nothing to do with the writings or the sayings that was given to Moses, that were given to Moses, or that were transmitted from Moses's mouth to our people's ears. What else do you need? What else do you need? Or you're going to sit there in whatever mindset you're in, afraid, maybe you're ignorant. Ignorant just means not knowing. All right, but you know now. You know now. So you can reclaim what is yours. You can demonstrate to everybody around you and to the Most High that you are making tangible effort, energy, movement to return to the Most High, to reclaim your heritage. Your language is part of your heritage. Or you can sit there and listen to some pastor, preacher, rabbi talk SHIT to you like you've been doing since you've been in religion and keep getting played. All right, keep getting played by that person and getting played in life, getting your you know what handed to you, no matter how much money you have or don't have. All right, it's time for you to act and to act now. It is time for you to act and act now and stop being a coward. Stop making excuses. Whatever those excuses might be, stop playing stupid like you don't know. So therefore, you're froze in the headlights like a deer. We as a people have no time for cowards and no time for fools anymore. Though you sit there pretending like you are not under attack in every area of life, from the water you drink, from the paint that you look at on your house, from the lead in the soil, from the lead in the water. This is what I'm telling to you. From the food you eat to the so-called medicines or poisons that you are taking, be they subscription or street, and everything else that you might be smoking, be it legal or illegal, you are under attack. Even in the classroom, in all areas, even in your relationship, through media. So what does this all boil down to? It all boils down to language. You're being attacked through language, right? When we talk about school, education, you talk about all of the so-called religions that you're involved in. These are all language, media, language. Words are spelled, therefore casting spells, spoken spells and written spells. So are you going to stand up like a man or a woman? Or are you going to sit there and perish on your knees? You know what you're doing. Anyway, so we are on, let me continue with the thank yous. All right, and thank you for everyone. Again, I got off topic. Didn't mean to do that. Thanks everybody for supporting, subscribing to 101 Ancient Ibaryath. And then also for those of you who have purchased the book that we're promoting, which is 911 Ibaryath Rescue. I want to say thank you everybody for supporting us, purchasing our literature, being active and helping us with these campaigns that we're doing. We need the finance to keep this thing going, y'all. All right. We need the finance to keep this going. I don't like doing this any much, probably than a lot of y'all don't like hearing me do this, but it's necessary. All right. If we were getting support and we didn't have to do this, I wouldn't do it. There'd be no need to do it, right? But we're just starting out. I think we're 3 months deep into these live streams every day, right? So we need the support. We need to improve. All of y'all can see we need to improve the quality of our live stream. That takes finance to do that. Have to buy equipment, have to buy software, have to learn how to use it, pay people to do things. All right. So we got a long way to go to make this a very professional operation. All right. But with your help, with your support, with your kind and generous support, we can do it. All right. We can definitely do it. So now I should have checked the quality of, let me make sure we got a live stream now. Hold on. Let me make sure we're streaming. So you're going to have to make a move yourself, you scholar in the audience. Can you even, it's time for everybody to make a move. All right. You have to show what you're made of right now. You sit around here, continue going to these modern Hebrew classes like something wrong with you, or biblical Hebrew classes like something is wrong with you. You already know that it's not yours, but you keep going because you know why? Because you're worshiping your power, your capital God, which is the white man. Which is the white man. Go ahead and admit it. Whatever he say, a lot of y'all, even though you claim to be woke and all that stuff, you're still worshiping a man, or what appears to be a man, right? Admit it to yourself. All right. Once you admit that, you can walk away from it because you see how dumb it is. Admit it. Why would you be going to someplace and learning something that has nothing to do with you and even paying for it, and you know it? Other than you have a problem. Other than you have a problem. And what's the problem? You are worshiping the white man. What the white man says is right. He white, so it's right. Right? And you feel like you're better than your brother because you're dealing with white folks. Everybody knows that psychology. It's no mystery. The only person I know out here, I know two people talking about Ibaryath. That's Apostle. Y'all know who Apostle is. And that's Pastor Kelly. Everybody else is talking this modern Hebrew and biblical Hebrew stuff. All of them. All of them. But you got two people out here who's telling the truth that I know of. That I know of. And y'all go into these camps, churches, assemblies. No, wait a minute. No. GOCC. There's an organization called GOCC. I understand they're teaching Ibaryath. But I don't know how complex. I don't know if it's just the basic stuff. So let me leave them out. Let me not leave them out. All right. So GOCC, I understand, has some Ibaryath classes, but I don't know the details. Right. Apostle is out here talking about Ibaryath and Pastor Kelly. I don't know of any other people or organizations at all. But here you are talking about there is a Hebrew Israelite awakening and movement. How can it be when they refuse to talk about even ancient Ibaryath? How can there be an awakening? You're talking about reclaiming your heritage, and your language is your heritage, part of it. They're tangible and intangibles. Most of these people are out here giving you a pep talk about history, of which they know nothing about. They read something in a book and they got on the microphone and they started talking, but they don't understand. They probably don't even comprehend, let alone have the ability to provide you with any level of analysis that has any type of quality worth listening to. But you would never know it because you've been miseducated K through 12 and college. You've been totally miseducated. And you're being totally misled in this so-called Hebrew Israelite movement. All right. Now, I just told you, Pastor Kelly, Apostle, by the way, Pastor Kelly's YouTube channel is We Woke Now. Pastor Kelly's YouTube channel is We Woke. And I think he may have another one called We Woke Now. So y'all subscribe to his channel. All right. Apostles YouTube channel, I think is Zakan Apostle, Zaqan Apostle. Apostle, if you're out there listening, put your YouTube channel into the comment section so people can find you. And then there's GOCC. GOCC, actually, I don't know their YouTube channel. Search Gathering of Christ Church, GOCC. It may be something like a Gathering 144 or something like that, but y'all can find it. It's easy to find. All right. So, of course, GOCC, they are a church. So you make your own decisions. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do and how to do it. That's not my role. My role is to give you the information, and it is between you and the Most High on what you do with it, whether you're going to sit there and be a coward, or whether you're going to step up like a such as culture, such as commerce, those things that are physical, such as land, including portable land, all these other things we've talked about in these other astrotheology live streams, okay? It's time for me to stop talking and for y'all to step up and start talking. Now, these last several live streams I've done, nobody called in. I'm assuming because y'all were asleep. The worst case scenario is that you were scared, all right? And to tell it like it is, that means you were a coward. Now, that's okay, right? Because it takes some effort to move from being afraid, okay, and a coward, to being afraid and courage. Either way, you're still afraid, right? But once you do a thing, the fear goes away. And even if it doesn't, when you act, you convert the cowardness into courage, right? Cowardice becomes courage. The fear remains, all right? The only difference is the action that you take. Positive action toward a goal makes you courageous. Doing nothing makes you a coward. Rosemary Fields, I'm sorry, let me repeat that. We have a comment here. So Rosemary says, thank you for what you're doing, brother. Thank you to Rosemary Fields. I appreciate that. I really, really do. I appreciate the encouragement very much. Y'all see how it took a woman to step up? Y'all see that? You see the value of a woman when you men are sitting there not doing anything? But a woman has power because men, believe it or not, men will follow a woman, although not directly. The woman step up, men will usually step up, right? Because of matters of pride. All right. So thanks, Rosemary, for getting us started in our comment section. Much appreciated. I appreciate you for appreciating me. Let me tell y'all something. This is a very lonely work. There's no fun doing this. There's no fun in this. Okay. Most people are angry because of what I'm doing. And then the people around me, nobody wants to hear it because who wants to hear what I'm talking about all day long? Because this is what I'm thinking about. All right. Rosemary, sorry for mispronouncing your name. Rosemary, thank you, sis. Appreciate it. So again, thank you for those who have supported the 911 Ibaryath Rescue, the international edition promotion. We're trying to move 100 books. We have 100 books left in inventory. We want to move those. All right. So if you have the money and if you have the interest, go ahead and buy these books. These are going to give you your ABCs of the Ibaryath script, right? This is the ABCs, the Phoenician, Canaanite script, all right? These are the ancient pictographs, the ancient, the Paleo, and the late, all right? So you get a lot of information in that. These are the basics. Okay, y'all, so we are ready to get going. I'm tired of talking. We're ready to get into, so like the video, subscribe to the video, let people know that we are live. Let's get into our presentation. So I'm going to be doing some reading, as I mentioned before, because there are a lot of details here, and I don't want y'all to miss these details. In my opinion, these are critical details. These are fundamentals that you absolutely must be aware of. You must be aware of, and in the future, you'll be doing right by yourself if you're able to go back to this information and reference it as you learn. In other words, you're going to see this information again in one form or another. All right. It's up to you to be able to recognize it. The book that we are coming from in this debriefing live stream is The Devil's Pulpit, not written, but it is a compilation of sermons given by the Reverend Robert Taylor in the early 1800s. It was published in book form in 1857. All right, we go through all of that in our 81 or 82 live stream videos of Astrotheology, The Devil's Pulpit, where we read every word on every page. So everything you need to know about astrotheology is in those live streams. You don't have to even read it. This is a 341-page book. It is the foremost authority on astrotheology ever published. Now, I said ever published. Ever published. It is the absolute foremost authority on astrotheology ever published, and you got it for free. Not just the reading, but the explanation. The explanation. Okay? I gave you the explanation of what the author is talking about. Why is that necessary? Because he's using language and idioms from the 1800s. Okay, so it's not an easy read, scholars. It's not an easy read. It needs to be explained. Unless you want to go to school for 25, 27, 30 years, like I did, pay for it all, hundreds of thousands of dollars, sleepless nights, staying up, not just 24 hours straight, not just 48 hours straight, try 72 hours straight, study and work. Try that. You didn't have to do that suffering. I did it for you. You didn't have to go through the humiliation of not knowing class content, being embarrassed, until I learned the discipline on how to be prepared to spare myself from being humiliated by professors who was looking for an opportunity to humiliate somebody, especially somebody of my pedigree, who didn't want me there anyway. So you didn't have to experience that. I did that for you, and I gave it to you for free in 81 or 82 live streams. I gave it to you for free, but do you appreciate it? Do you value it? That's the point. That's the point. You got it for free, all right? You did not have to spend 1 second struggling to get the education and the discipline, not just the discipline, not just the education, but also the discipline and the mindset where you're willing to give somebody or people something free that you struggled and suffered for 27 years, damn near 30 years. All right. All right. All right. Let's see. Rosemary Fields writes again, I just pray for discernment This is so much info, and coming into the truth, it becomes noise. You are so right. I want to learn the absolute truth, no more lies. Well, you're right at the place to do it, Rosemary Fields. You're right at the right place to do it. Okay. And don't think that that happened by mistake or coincidence. There is no coincidence. So, Rosemary, this is what I want you to do. In the description area of this video, we offer a course called 506, the Curses course. All right. I'm going to show it on the screen. All right. I want you to click on the link in the description area of the video. And then I want you to register for that. And then you come to class on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. I don't know where you are in the world. Oh, where's the banner? I don't know where you are in the world, but it's Saturday, every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can come for free twice. Now, sometimes people stay longer for free. It just depends on the situation, okay? I think we have one person, he's been there already 5 classes. I think he's 6 classes or more. He's already 5 or 6 classes in or more, or this person rather, for free. All right. It just depends on the circumstances. So the link is in the description area, Rosemary. All right. It's in the description area of the video. And let me try to get it and put it in the comments section. But give me 1 second. All right. Give me 1 second. All right. I'm going to put it in the comment section for you. So click on this link and you are more than welcome to come and learn. We have a great group of scholars that you will be working with, assisting. Okay, so all right, so you and ATL, all right. We have a great group. They're very friendly, very helpful. All right, so and it's gonna be everything that I'm saying and more. You can believe that. All right, so I just put the link in the comment section. All right, the link is in the comment section. There you go, Rosemary. So I hope to see you. And then everybody else who wants to learn, who wants to return to the Most High, get out of this religion, get out of these traps that you find in these organizations. All right, I'm not going to name any, but y'all know who they are. All right, y'all jumped right out of the church or right out of the mosque into the same thing. It's just same pig with different color lipstick. All right. But in much ways, these Hebrew Israelite organizations are worse. In many ways, they are much worse than what you jumped out of. But that's for y'all to experience. All right. But this is what people tell me who were able to escape these Hebrew Israelite organizations. All right. So now let's get into our lesson, y'all. Let me put the call-in number in the comments section. As a matter of fact, give me 1 second. Let me put the call-in number on the screen. Give me 1 second. Let me put the call-in number on the screen. Then we're going to get into the lesson. So there's going to be some reading that I have to do again because I don't want to shortchange you. I don't want to miss saying something that I should have said. All right, this is important. So the call-in number is 530. The call-in number is 530 554. I'm gonna change that. I need to change it. We do it differently. Hold on. Call-in number is 530 554 530-554-9419. So I need to change that. Hold on, give me 1 second. Not the number. The number is good. All right, there we go. Call-in number is 530-554-9419. All right. That's our call-in number. Darrell-El writes, I call it Christy Elite. Christianity Israelites. There you go. Right, right, right. And all of the toxicity that you find in Christianity, well, you can amp that up 10,000% in this so-called Hebrew Israelite movement. All right, and y'all can tell them that DrYasapa said it. All right, so it ain't no thing but a chicken wing, as we used to say, right? Because I don't give a you know what about what they think about me. All right, I'm not in this trying to make friends, at least not anymore. That is not possible, as I have learned. All right, y'all. So I'm tired of talking. I'm ready to go into the language. Darrell-El, thanks for holding it down in the comment section for me today. I hope your hands are free and you can do that for me. Let me know if you cannot. All right. So here we go, y'all. We're part 2. We are part 2 of the Star of Bethlehem in the Devil's Pulpit. The link to the free PDF is in the description area of this video. Again, the link to the free PDF of the Devil's Pulpit is in the description area of the video. So print that, download it, and print it. You must have this physical copy of this book in your library, and you're better off if you have it while we do these debriefing live streams. All right, so here we go, y'all. We're beginning part 2, the Star of Bethlehem, coming out of Matthew chapter 2, verse 2. So let me show that to y'all. See, this is it becomes a lot of work to do this. Let me tell y'all why. Not looking at the scripture. Looking at the scripture is easy, right? Reading the scripture is easy. It's switching from one thing to the other causes me rather. Maybe other people wouldn't have the same problem I have, but it causes me to have to switch my thoughts, right? So let me show where we're at. So that's the difficulty of it. Thank you, Darrell-El. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really need you. I appreciate it. All right. Yeah, so this part, see how I have to stop in the middle, right? Break the thought. All right. But with support, I'll be able to get some. If you guys support me financially, I'll be able to get somebody to come in here and help me with this so I can focus on the presentation, and then they can do this type of stuff for me. All right. And that would increase the quality of my presentation. So here we are, Matthew chapter 2. This is the KJV. Here's our theme scripture. This is the theme scripture for the Star of Bethlehem, part 2, also for part 1. Now, when JC was born in Bethlehem of Judea, scholars, you already know that when you see Bethlehem of Judea, you should be thinking what? Theologically or astronomically, or right? Astronomically, astrology, these are equivalent words. So astrology has a negative connotation these days. Before, it just referred to natural phenomena in the sky. All right. Now, when JC was born in Bethlehem of Judea, your mind should be thinking astronomical, natural phenomena. Now, when JC was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, those of you who were here from the beginning, you already know that the days of Herod the king refer to what? Natural phenomena. Okay, and that's probably going to be the answer to most questions, right? Why? Because this is astrotheology class. Well, astrotheology live stream. Okay, so everything is going to be what? Natural phenomena, astronomy, astronomical reference, natural phenomena. Now, when JC was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, these are the things we're going to discuss in this live stream. Behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, now again, Jerusalem, you should already be thinking Astronomical, right? Natural phenomena. Behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star, astronomy, natural phenomena, in the east, and are come to worship him. For we have seen his star in the east and have come to worship him. All right, so that's Matthew chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. All right, so now what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the Star of Bethlehem. All right, the Star of Bethlehem. Now remember, in part 1, the author gave us the key to understanding the Gospels. And what's the key? In review, well, y'all go back and look at part 1 if you want the key. But in short, the key is astrology. The key is astrology, right? Not the negative stuff you read in the newspaper about the zodiac, not all of that stuff. It is the natural phenomena. It is the natural phenomena occurring above our heads in the heavens. You look up and you know nothing about that. That's called what? The wilderness. You're looking into the wilderness. All right. If you look up and you know how to make the constellations and you know where the constellations are, now you're looking at a beautiful city. You're looking at a beautiful city. You know what it's kind of like? Let's say you fly into a city, it's night, and you're landing, it's nighttime, and all the lights of the city are on. You've never been in the city before, and you're descending, and you see all of the lights. It looks so pretty, right? All these shimmering lights everywhere. The shimmering lights are the stars. You've never been in that city, so you don't know what's what, right? It's just a bunch of lights. But now let's say you're flying into a big city that you've been to a million times. You've flown into that city a million times, or you grew up in that city, right? And now you're flying into that city. You're descending in the airplane. It's nighttime. You see all the lights. Well, guess what? You know everything, right? You can see everything. You know all the streets. You can see all the buildings. You know everything that's there. All right. So compare. I know I'm getting off on a tangent, but in the one case that you don't know the city, that you're flying down, you're looking at a wilderness. When you know the city, you're looking at the beautiful city above, and I'm not going to say what it is. All right, y'all go back and watch the other videos. If you know that city, well, I just told you the answer, right? But anyway, let's continue. The author gives us the key to understanding the Gospels, the mystery of the Gospels, and that master key is understanding the theological allegories, the theological stories, and how they relate to natural phenomena. What natural phenomena? Celestial phenomena. What is celestial phenomena? Astronomical phenomena. What is astronomical phenomena? It is astrology. There is your master key. All right, now let's continue. The author writes on page 2, we are in possession of the key of the stable door. We are in possession of the key of the stable door. So stable, that's your theological reference to where the Christ figure was born, right? He was born in a stable. As you will recall, horses, cows, and sheep are born in stables. They live in stables, right? Remember, Sagittarius from previous lectures, half man, half horse. Half man, half horse. This is the constellation Sagittarius. We discussed Sagittarius yesterday. So let's continue. Let me check to see if we have anything happening in our comments section. All right, so no comments yet. By the way, feel free to call in if you have any questions or comments, or if you just want to speak your piece about this matter. Okay, feel free to call in. Just be respectful. If you have something to say that's against this, that's okay. Call in. I'm not going to challenge you. You can say what you want to say. All right. So here we are. Here we are. So now on page 18, this is key. This is key, y'all. Page 18, second paragraph. The author is talking about what? He says here, he says the apparatus, the tool, the equipment of philology. The equipment of philology. Darrell-El writes, plan et. We know what plan means. This is the et suffix. When added to, let me show that. Let me go through that again now. So Darrell-El writes plan et. So planet, plan et. We know what plan means. This is the et suffix. When added to a noun, the suffix et refers to a smaller version of that noun. Plan et, a microplan. Oh, excellent point. Excellent point. And see, this is what we're going to get into right now, what Darrell-El just introduced, right? Parts of speech, suffixes, prefixes, infixes, all right? So we're moving into philology, okay? We're moving into philology, etymology, and all of that good stuff that you were denied. Imagine you're at dinner. They give you some food. All right. All they did was boil it in some water. And you're sitting there eating it. And that's how you've been eating from birth. You don't know what you're missing. And then you go to your friend's house and his mama's in the kitchen and she throwing down with all kind of herbs and spices. You darn near 50 years old. You go into your friend's house, they throwing down, cooking, spices, herbs, they got everything. And you taste that food, you're sitting there looking at it, how they prepare it, and you're amazed. You don't know what's happening, but you're amazed because it looks so good and smells so good. And then you taste it. And then the lights turn on in your head. Parts of your brain become activated that had not been activated before. And all of a sudden you realize the difference between what you grew up accustomed to and what's really out here in the world. Okay? Maybe that's not a good analogy, I don't know. But for those of us who went K through 12 in college and who were not taught about grammar, parts of speech, philology, textual criticism, all of these things that we're going to get into today, the Darrell-El just opened the door for. Thank you, Darrell-El. This is what you've been missing. You've been eating boiled food all your life. Now you're going to get some food that is properly seasoned, spiced up perfectly. All right. Now your lights should turn on. Areas of your brain that were dormant should now become activated. All right. As you get this education. All right. So let's continue. Thanks for that segue, Darrell. Philology. Criticism, as we mentioned, criticism, asking questions, see, doubting, not accepting questions, doubting questions. Ask questions to see if what they're telling you or see if what's being taught is inaccurate or just flat out wrong, or if they're deceiving you. Ask critical questions. Ask critical questions. Okay? So as a lesson, for those of you in the audience, scholars, you can write, or better yet, you can call in and ask a critical question. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to answer it because I don't know if I know the answer. If I know the answer and if you want me to answer it, I will. But if you want to call in and just ask a critical question for practice, get your mind asking critical questions. So you could ask a critical question about what we're talking about now. Practice, okay? So philology, parts of speech, etymology, etc., textual criticism, all of these things. Okay, morphology, right? Morphology, word morphology. Okay, and the last one that the author mentions is science. So what science are we dealing with in this book? All of what we're dealing with is science. Philology, language is a science. Language is a science. Grammar is a science. Astronomy, that's a science, right? The 4 seasons that make up the year, this is a science. These are sciences. So we're dealing with science, right? Astrology, astronomy, science. History is a science. Architecture is a science, right? All right. So let's continue with these comments. Darrell-El writes, I went to a friend's house and the food was like like in Sugar Hill Gang rap. Okay, so Darrell-El continues. Wordcraft, not witchcraft. Excellent point. Y'all take that to mind. Wordcraft, not witchcraft. Wordcraft. Wordcraft. Words are what captures the imagination, both spoken and written. Capture the imagination, and once you allow that imagination to get captured, you are finished. When you're dealing with someone who has an evil intent, you're done. You are done. All right. So when you go to a movie, that these heathens put out, one of these sci-fi and all of that stuff that y'all love so much, and ain't nothing wrong with liking sci-fi. But when you get into a movie, right, and you allow them to capture your imagination, guess what? First thing you should have thought about is what is the character? What is the character of the person or group of people who made the movie? What is their character? See, the character will always surface. You don't need to know what they're doing. All you need to know is their character. All right. And if you're dealing with hybrids, you should already know what their agenda is in everything they do. Insecurity, power hungry, all of those things in Genesis chapter 1. You don't know what I'm talking about? Go back and watch our Genesis chapter 1 and 2 video. All right, go back and watch our Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2 video. In short, never trust your enemy, and especially never trust somebody who has a very negative, destructive character. All right, so let's see. Darrell-El writes in reference to what we were talking about, you become brainwashed. Excellent. That's it, y'all. You become brainwashed. Don't think they're giving y'all something for free, right? Don't think you're getting all this entertainment and it's not benefiting their thirst to have supremacy over you. Okay? All right. That's the problem that we have. Our people are too trusting. All right. So let's continue, y'all. Let's continue. So the author reminds us, he's telling us that we need to know philology, criticism, and science. We need to know it and be comfortable with it. This is why I keep pushing that you subscribe to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. All right. That's where you're going to get that from. Subscribe to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. Come to our live online class Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link is in the description area of this video. All right. Now we've reached the point where I need to read some things because I don't want to miss anything. All right. So let me get this comment in. Darrell-El writes, entertainment is internment. Yes, indeed. It's internment. And guess what, y'all? You do it willfully. You do it willfully. All right. Excuse me. Give me 1 second, y'all. So we got to a point where I need to read some things. All right. So we are now on page 18 of the Devil's Pulpit. Page 18, the last paragraph. We're going to be almost 2/3 down. All right. Almost 2/3 down is where we're going to begin. All right. So here we go, y'all. Here we go. Let me see. Where are we? Hold on. So if you got your book out, or if you got your PDF, or your book out, go to page. Go to page. What did I say? Page 18. Hold on. Oh, go to page 20. No. Yeah, page 18. So if you got your book, go to page 18. All right, go to page 18. All right, go to page 18. So here it reads, page 18, 2/3 of the way down. We are all of us ignorant before we are learned. Repeat. See, there's no shame in being ignorant. We are all of us ignorant before we are learned. And those who are forever coming down to our level, while we are down, now he's talking about the religious leaders, your pastor, preacher, imam, rabbi, Moshe, general, captain, all of this stuff. All right, these are the titles he's referring to. And those who are forever coming down to our level, these teachers, while we are down being ignorant, show but too plainly that it is the aim of their charity. In other words, they're coming down to your level for a reason. It is the aim of their charity. Ain't nothing free, y'all. It is the aim of these teachers' charity for talking to you at your level to keep us down. They come down to your level and talk to you at your level to keep you down, to keep you ignorant. They're going to talk to you like a baby. I remember when my children were babies, I would never talk to them like a baby. And I told my ex-wife, don't talk to our children like they're babies. Fortunately, she agreed with me. All right. Fortunately, she agreed with me. Why? Because you don't want your child to learn baby talk. You want your child to learn how to speak properly, right? Like an adult. Okay, so let's continue. The author writes, for we are all of us ignorant before we are learned, and those who are forever coming down to our level while we are down show but too plainly it is their aim to keep us down. It is their aim to keep you down, to keep you ignorant. In offering instruction to my fellow men, I would treat them as my fellows. In other words, the author is saying when he's teaching people, he teaches them as these people are his equal, and must therefore plainly tell them that it is not for me to descend, but it is for them to rise. In other words, it's not for me as your teacher to talk to you like you're a baby. It's for me as your teacher to talk to you on my level, and it's your responsibility to rise up to my level. And that, my friend, that scholar, is a learning process. That is a learning process, and it is doable. Lots of people have done it, and lots of people are doing it every day. So again, the author writes, in offering instruction to my fellow men, I would treat them as my fellows, and must therefore plainly tell them that it is not for me to descend. It is not for me to stoop down to your level of what? Of ignorance, of unknowing, using vocabulary that you use. That's what the author said. It's not for me to use vocabulary, connotative linguistics that you understand. It's for me to use denotative linguistics. It's for me to use all of these apparatus, these tools in science that we met. And you rise up to my level because I'm doing right by you. I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not being arrogant. I'm not being stuck up. I'm treating you as an equal. I'm treating you as an equal. Your obligation, your responsibility is to rise up. Is to rise up. Author continues. It is not for me to descend, or talk to you like you're a baby or like you're ignorant, talk to you like you're not my equal, but it is for you to rise. Okay, the level between us, the level between you and I, scholars, is to be found not by my humility, not by your teacher's humility, whoever that teacher might be, but by your ambition to learn, to become educated, to become free, your ambition to become educated, to become free, to become independent, to take back your heritage. What is your heritage? Genesis chapter 2, Genesis chapter 10, Jubilees chapter 8. What is your heritage? Moors. All 16 families of Moors. You are sprung from the soil, therefore you are what? You are the substance and subject matter of the law. You are the law. The law is whatever you say it is. All law is for your benefit, for your advantage, and for the advantage of your offspring. You must understand that. You must know who you are. Otherwise, you will continue in the state of being chattel, cattle, property. Role reversal. Those of you Zion Law School scholars, you know this. Zion Law School scholars know the point I'm about to make right now. Hybrids cannot inherit land. Although born from a womb man, although born from a woman, hybrids cannot inherit land. Therefore, they are not substance. Law does not apply to them. We gave them sovereignty when we put them into government with the Constitution for the United States of North America, the organic Constitution. We did that for them, giving them state citizenship, giving them state citizenship. They cannot own land. Understand that. This is why they went through what? Unum sanctum, doctrine of discovery. So on and so forth. So scholars, make your correlations and make your integrations. You must understand this inside and out. We have some comments. Let's take a look at these comments. Okay, so Darrell-El writes, stepping out of the pulpit is stepping down. Good point, good point, good point again. Darrell-El continues, or coming down to your level because the pulpit is an elevated position. You know, Darrell-El, I never thought about that. They do have it up. I never thought about that. Good point. Good point. All right, so now let's continue on, y'all. Let me see. Okay. So, all right, so we got off on a little tangent here. So reclaim your heritage. Make sure you subscribe to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. Make sure you come to those free classes on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Links are in the description area of this video. All right, author continues. I will not make myself a dunce. In other words, the author is saying, I'm not going to talk to you like you're a child, as if I'm a child, but I will make you scholars. I will make you scholars by teaching you through my language, through my conversation. I'm going to teach you philology. I'm going to teach you criticism, how to ask questions. I'm going to teach you science. This is what the author is saying. Okay, and he's saying this in relation to this book, The Devil's Pulpit. All you have to do is read it. No, that's what the author is saying. All you have to do is read it to get this information. If you are willing to read it, if you are willing to go back and watch those 81 or 82 live stream presentations of the Devil's Pulpit that we have provided for you. not just once. Go back and do it 2, 3, 4 times. Become a master. Become a master of astrotheology. This is the foremost authority on astrotheology ever published. Ever published. And it's within your grasp to do it. That's going to give you the inside story from the author's point of view, what the Gospels really, really mean. All right. So that's what's in it for you. All right. Now let's continue. So I want to continue reading because I don't want to miss any of this. All right. Note this, y'all. Note this. And then the call-in number is 530-554-9419. The call-in number is 530-554-9419. And y'all don't make me do all the work. Y'all call in, give me a break so I can give my voice a break. All right. So now, Jerice, tell us. Good to see you. Good to see you. Jerice writes, hi, DrYasapa and scholars. Good to see you, Jerice. Good to see you. All right. So our call-in number again is 530-554-9419. So call in. Let us know what you have to say. So let's continue. Be it asked, quote, and if I, this is the author speaking, and if I rob them, that's his congregation, if I rob them of their faith, in other words, the author is saying, if they come here and they listen to me, teach them about the Gospels, using philology, using criticism, using science, if they all of a sudden realize that they don't want to follow Christianity no more, that's what the author is saying. And if I rob them of their faith, okay, which capital God forgive me for being devilishly likely to do. In other words, the author is saying, if you come in here and you listen to the science of it, there's no way you're going to keep believing in Christianity. But that's your decision. The author is saying if you are an intelligent person, of normal intelligence rather, he continues, what will I give them instead? In other words, if I rob them of their faith, if they come in and they see the Christianity is just a fairy tale, a made-up story, what am I going to replace that with? Here's the author's answer. He writes this. He says, I answer, I being the author, I will give them learning in its stead. I will set before them the treasures of science and knowledge. What science and knowledge? Again, we already went through it. Philology, criticism, history, etc., etc., etc. The author goes in through what? Art. He goes into art, history. He goes into architecture, astronomy, the seasons. Everything is in this book. All right. He's gonna give you that instead of your religion. All right. He says here, I will set before them the treasures. Notice the treasures of science and knowledge to no worse effect than to create in them an appetite for extended information. That is an appetite for learning, whose cravings shall never more be satisfied with the baby lessons, that is these Christian fairy tale stories, nor content with eternal repetitions of what they knew before. You go over these gospel stories every year during your feast days and whatever days you recognize. Y'all go through the same stuff every year, right? But shall demand continual supplies of what they did not know before. In other words, you're not going to be going over stuff you do every year, right? You know what they're going to say before you even get there, but you're going to be advancing in your scientific knowledge and understanding. All right. Such supplies, that is, such supplies of education as shall increase the store of their intellectual wealth, improve their minds, improve your mind, scholar, enlarge your heart, scholar. Y'all ever notice religious people are some of the worst and wicked people you can ever meet? These are the people who are going to condemn and judge based upon their opinion. Based upon their opinion. All right, they're going to throw the Bible at you. and throw all of the deities at you. They're gonna throw all of the deities at you. They're gonna be they're gonna be speaking in the names of JC, all of the deities, right? Right? Y'all know it's true. Y'all know it's true. All right. So now let's continue. They also say, well, the author is also saying, the author, here's the point that I like. The author writes, he says, such supplies of knowledge shall increase the store of your intellectual wealth, scholar, all of you Moors. Improve your minds, enlarge your hearts, and free you from the yoke of the priestcraft. Free you from the yoke of the priestcraft that has you locked in lower self thinking and lower self behavior. Is that clear to you? Theology locks you into, in other words, religion locks you into lower self behavior, lower self thinking. Natural law will cause you, natural law, I'm talking about learning natural law, learning all of these sciences. Law is a science. Language is a science. And then we have the physical sciences, right? Medicine, architecture, engineering, so on and so forth. These are all sciences. Learning these things, okay? Learning who you are, returning to your heritage, right? The old ways, returning to the old ways, following the Most High's instructions, will rise you up to higher self thinking and higher self behavior. Is that clear? It is the only way to free yourself from the priestcraft. It is the only way to free yourself from the priestcraft. You will not get free from the priestcraft by following more religious doctrine. Okay, that's not the way out, as you can clearly see. As you can clearly see, the way out is a return to the Most High by learning his instructions, and the Most High's instructions at their essence are natural law. You cannot build a jet plane and fly using religious doctrine. You must understand the sciences. Okay, so we have some more comments. I think that's clear. Come on, y'all. Man up, woman up, call in 530-554-9419. 530-554-9419. Give me a break from all of this talking. Call in and let us know what you're thinking. All right, Darrell-El writes, Coverdale, Genesis chapter 2, verse 13. The second water is called Gihon, which runneth about the whole, land of ye. Morias. Is that a reference to Moors? Darrell-El, Morias. Darrell-El writes, the ancient name for Ethiopia is more land. Do y'all understand that? Make your correlations. Make your correlations. There's another scripture in relation to that, right? Are you not like the Ethiopian to me? Islam to all the Moors. Yeah, Darrell writes, yes. Thank you, Darrell. Now, Darrell just taught me something because I was not aware of that. Thank you so much, Darrell. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. So we see Moors all throughout Scripture, hidden from you. Why did they hide reference to Moors? Because everything is about inheritance. Everything is about inheritance. And when you are walking around in a brand, Negro, Black, colored, Latino, all of the brands, in law, you are what? Non-inheritable. You cannot inherit anything. You cannot inherit the land. So guess what? There's no rightful heir available. There's no rightful heir available. So the person who is in possession of it, regardless of how they took possession, is theirs. Why? There's no rightful heir to claim it. This is why the prophet Noble Drew Ali told you what? If you don't do anything else, proclaim your nationality. This is not the place to go arguing about who is Prophet Noble Drew Ali or who's a prophet and who's not. That's not the point. We are talking about science. We are talking, and law is a science. And whether you like it or not, I'm talking specifically to Yasharala men and women, or those Hebrew Israelites, whether you like it or not, Prophet Noble Drew Ali is the man who told us all of this information about law. All of it. It is without him that we wouldn't know anything about law, about our inheritance, about anything. Okay, so don't make this a matter of clubs, because it is not a club. More is a nationality. It's not a religion. All right. It is not a religion. So don't bring that here. It's not the place. Go to Sarnetta for that. Don't come here for that. All right. We don't deal with that here. Darrell-El, thank you so much for that. I wish there was some way to give an applause. I would give an applause for that. Congratulations, Darrell-El. Darrell-El writes, Coverdale, O ye children of Israel, are ye not unto me, even as the Morians, saith the Most High? Have not I brought Israel out off the land of Egypt, the Philistines from Captor, and the Syrians? There you go, y'all. Now, why can the Most High say that? Why does he say that? Genesis chapter 2. We are sprung from the soil. In contrast, in contradiction to the hybrid who is not sprung from the soil, but who has his origin in a genetic study or a genetic research project gone wrong. All right. All right, excellent. Thank you, Darrell-El. Thank you, Darrell-El. So everybody sees the Genesis chapter 2 is everything. More, your nationality as a Moor is everything. All right. Darrell-El writes, genetic soup. Yes, indeed. Let me repeat that again, scholars. Your nationality, be you House of Yasharala or any of the 16 families of nations coming from Genesis chapter 10, it is everything. You are recorded in law as a Moor by treaty all over the world. All right. So there it is. Specifically for us in North America is the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. All right. So if you don't know about that, you need to go out here and learn about it. So now let's continue. You see how powerful this book is once you start to dig into it? Do you see the power in this? Do you see the power in etymology? You see the power in etymology. Subscribe to 101 Ancient Ibaryath if you haven't already done so. The link is in the description area of this video, zionlawschool.org, zionlawschool.org. So now let's continue reading the author. Free yourself from the yoke of the priestcraft. Free yourself more from the yoke of the priestcraft. In other words, the author is saying, escape religion. Escape the mindset and the cultural, or the ceremonial observances of religion. Escape them. Free yourself. Break the gospel spell. Break the God spell. Break the God spell. That's what the author is telling. Break the God spell. What is the God spell? Broadly speaking, I'm not talking about the stories. But the stories do deal with what? Morality and ethics. That's the whole focus. So let's make a change to this. Let's shift away from morality and ethics and return to natural law. The essence of natural law is what? When we deal with commerce, human relations, is do no harm. That's the Most High's instructions. Anyway, let's continue. The author continues. We're on page 19 now. As now, sirs, you shall see the use of such learning. You shall see the use of such learning. Remember, we're talking philology, criticism, and science. And now I'm going to show you how to use philology, how to use etymology, how to use asking doubtful questions, and how to use science to free yourself in the learned languages, as shall not cost you the expense of a classical education, nor the labor of your whole life to attain, but by your few hours of diligent attention to these lectures, by your few hours of diligent attention to these live streams, all 81 or 82, I need to go back and check, of the live streams where we read and explained all of this, and then all of the live streams of the debriefing where we're talking about it. Okay, all you need to do is study these. The author is saying all you need to do is study this book. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to do any of that suffering. Study the book. I'm telling you, you don't have to do anything else but to study these live streams. And you'll get more than what the author has written in the book, right? If you want to read the book, that's fine, but then you have to figure out what the author's talking about on your own. Okay, and most educated people cannot understand what this author is writing here. All right, most educated people cannot understand what the author has written. Why? Because it's outside of their paradigm, number one, meaning it's outside of the religious paradigm. Okay, so you have to break out of that. That's just, that's probably the first requirement, is to break out of the religious paradigm before you can understand this. And then secondly, you have to have an understanding of what? Etymology. Because in this whole book, he's building, his whole case is based upon etymology. And then the sciences that he uses, these he's using as proofs for his etymological presentation or evidence. All right. So now let's continue. The author writes, as now, sirs, ye shall see the use of such learning in the learned languages. He's talking about etymology, philology, as shall not cost you the expense of a classical education. You didn't pay for it. You didn't pay money, and you didn't pay in time, and you didn't pay in suffering, nor the labor of your whole life to attain your PhD, your MD, your MBA, your whatever your credentials are, right? All right. But by your few hours of diligent attention to these lectures. All right. So you go back to 1831. You go to the place where the author gave the lesson. You sit there for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and you listen. This is what the author's talking about. That's all you invested was 2, 3, 4 hours, even with pleasure and entertainment. So you enjoyed the lectures, right? You shall find yourselves to have acquired, just by listening to his lectures, till there shall be an individual of competent faculties. This is people who have normal intelligence that have fairly applied to these studies, but who shall be a better scholar than any clergy or preacher of the gospel. In other words, the author is saying, if you would have came in there and sat down and listened to his lectures, you would know more about the gospels than your preacher, than your pastor, your reverend, your rabbi, so on and so forth, because all they know is the theology. The author is teaching you the philology, all right, the etymology, and so on and so forth, the stuff behind the English, all right? So what are we learning from this? Not every pastor, not every Freemason is aware of this. Some are not, but they're few and far between. But it's better to assume that they know than that they don't know. You got to protect yourself, right? Like Malcolm X said, maybe this is not a word for word quote, but he said something like, if there's a whole bunch of snakes or wolves or whatever, let's say 10,000, let's say 1,000 of them are good, right? Are you going to open the door so that one of those 1,000 might come in? He said something like that, right? It's foolishness, right? Of course, you're not going to let them in. Okay, but that's common sense. But your common sense has been taken away from you. Why? Because you're into right and wrong. You're not into natural law. All right, so now let's continue. So I'm going to skip the rest of what he says on page 19. Okay, page 20. So y'all turn to page 20. Now the author starts to talk about radicals. Radicals. He's talking about radicals. So now we're talking what? Etymology. He's talking radicals, roots, and bases. Radicals, in the most ancient of times, according to the author, was a one syllable word. They, over time, moved from one syllable to two syllables, and then eventually 3 syllables. We deal with this in our Streaming 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. You'll learn about radicals. You'll learn about roots, and you'll learn about bases. All right, roots are verbs, bases are nouns. Okay, this is the whole key. Understanding radicals, understanding word morphology. The author is telling you, if you understand what radicals are and you understand parts of speech, then you can decode, you can expose, whatever terminology you want to use, any document written in any language. All right, radicals, bases, and roots. These are concepts found in all language. And when you go back far enough, all languages will go back to one. All languages will go back to one. In other words, the most ancient radicals, the most ancient roots and bases will share meaning in all language. Is that understood? Is that understood? This is etymology. We are on the topic, we are on the concept of denotative and connotative linguistics, also paradigms, world paradigms. Zion Law School scholars know exactly what I'm talking about. If you want to be educated, highly educated, more educated than your religious leaders, you should subscribe to 101 Ancient Ibaryath now, and you should come to the class on Saturday. You can get some free classes. What do you have to lose by coming to some free classes or subscribing to a streaming course that you can do at home at your leisure for $10, which is almost free? What do you got to lose? All right. So that's the key, y'all. So let's take a look at, well, no. Before we do that, let me continue on this topic. So now remember, the author introduced us to philology. He introduced us to criticism, which is asking doubtful questions. And he introduced us to science. Now we're getting into the mechanics of it. The key are radicals, roots, and bases. In all of Zion Law School books, you'll see we have the words broken down. We're showing you their radicals, roots, and bases. We're giving you their denotative meanings from multiple sources. All right. And in our Saturday 10 a.m. class, everybody's invited to come. You can come and actually see how we use this as tools, discovery tools. All right. And we find what these texts really, really say. All right. The Ibaryath meaning. Okay. But you have to see it to be able to know what it is, and a lot of times it feels uncomfortable for you, but that goes away eventually. Now let's continue. We are on page 20. Note what we're going to read here. Note what we're going to read here. Of which last sort of words is last paragraph. Now I got to read this, y'all, because there are details I don't want y'all to miss. I want to do right by you. Of which last sort of words, you cannot have a more striking specimen than that of the first noun, in our text, the name, and I'm going to spell this deity's name, J-E-S-U-S. This is J-C, right? J-E-S-U-S. All right, now note. Of which last sort of words, you cannot have a more striking specimen than that of the first noun in our text, the name, J-E-S-U-S, of which the last syllable, y'all, the last syllable is U-S. Now remember, we're talking about radicals. 1 syllable, 2 syllable, 3 syllable. The last syllable in the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S, the last syllable is, according to the author, U-S, us, U-S. Pay close attention. The last syllable, U-S, is no part of the word itself. Y'all got that? U-S is no part of the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S. The author is saying that the deity's name is simply J-E-S. The author is saying that the deity's name is J-E-S. It is not J-E-S-U-S. Now that's a big statement. Now let's let the author present his evidence so that we can make a decision personally as to whether or not this is correct. Now let's continue. All right, of which the last syllable of words, you cannot have a more striking specimen than that of the first noun in our text, the name of the deity, which is spelled J-E-S-U-S, of which the last syllable, U-S, is no part of the word itself, but the mere Latin termination. So what is a termination? It is a suffix. In other words, U-S is a suffix. So there is the word, the root, J-E-S, and then there's the suffix U-S, and that U-S suffix is from Latin. It is a Latin suffix, or rather a Latin terminology. Now termination rather. Let's continue. The last syllable U-S is no part of the word itself, but the mere Latin termination, added to only real and complete word. In other words, the author is saying the real word is J-E-S, and they added the Latin termination to J-E-S. Now the spelling changes to J-E-S-U-S. So again, the word itself is J-E-S. The Latin suffix is U-S. So the word plus the suffix, the word again is J-E-S. That's the real word. The suffix is U-S. Put it all together, you get J-E-S-U-S. Pay close attention because this is going somewhere very profound. Thus, the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S, Christus. Actually, I should have showed y'all this. Christus or Christus, C-H-R-I-S-T-U-S. Do y'all want me to open up the PDF and show y'all this page? Y'all want me to show y'all? Hold on, let me show it. Give me 1 second. Let me open this up and show it. While I'm waiting for the file to open, I'm going to read some comments. All right. So I think we need to show this for the recording. All right. So let's go through some comments. Darrell-El writes, Arthur uses craft and not hood, referring to priest. Thank you. Craft is something made up from other stuff. Thank you. Darrell continues. The Oz behind the curtain of the wizard. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay, Darrell continues. Etymology of wizard, Lithuanian, Zenists, magic, witch, same as Zionist or Zion. Okay, Zionists. Y'all know what the Zionists are, right? The Zionist Jews. Okay, Darrell continues. Names ending in us, that's names ending in the suffix us in Greek references Zeus. That's right. That's right. And y'all know the deity is Zeus, right? This is the same deity, Zeus. The same deity, Zeus. For those of you who have been following these live streams, that is Zeus. This is the deity Zeus. All right, excellent. Now let's continue. Let me try to let me put the call-in number up. So y'all call in, okay? If you haven't, if you got something that you want to say or a question, go ahead, call in. Feel free to call in. Here's our call-in number. All right, 530-554-9419. So give me a second. Let me pull this PDF up. The free PDF is in the description area of the video. So y'all go ahead, take advantage of it. All right. Go ahead, get that free PDF. And then I won't have to show this if y'all already have it. I won't have to worry about showing it on the screen. Okay. It breaks my train of thought every time I stop and do something like this. But I have to be thorough. Right? If I'm not thorough, what's the point? Okay, so we're on page 20. So let me go ahead and show this real quick. All right. So let's pull this up. If you haven't already liked the video, go ahead, like the video, share it. Y'all call somebody, tell them to come into the live stream. All right. Let them know that this is happening. All right. Tell them they're not going to get this anyplace else. Where is it? Okay. All right. There we are. All right. So, okay, so here it is, y'all. All right, so you'll be able to see it in just 1 second. Let me find the place. All right, so we're on page 20, y'all. We are on page 20. The call-in number is 530-554-9419. Y'all a bunch of chickens. Y'all ain't calling in. Y'all are a bunch of chickens. Because I put it in the highlight at the bottom of the screen, okay? I highlighted it at the bottom of the screen. That's Christus. All right. So here is the Latin termination US. Remember, the Latin termination US is only a Latin suffix. Termination meaning suffix. The Latin suffix us, US. All right. Here is the deity whose name I was spelling. Okay. So it looks like we have a caller, y'all. All right. Shalawama. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. Do you have a comment or a question?
Yeah, this is just Darrell. I'm just, breaking ice for everybody. That's basically it.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Darrell.
It seemed like last time I called, and they broke the ice, and others started calling in. So I'm just trying to break the ice.
All right, so y'all got it, y'all. The ice has been broken. Everybody get on the dance floor now. All right. Don't be scared. Darrell, can you give us some insights in your personal situation in terms of how you got into research and the etymology? Like I've read your emails and a lot of the work that you put out. can you give the audience some things from your personal experience that might help them be able to see that they can actually do it? It's doable.
Yeah, well, basically, it's all the Father, because I really am just a vessel. I just basically he woke me up one day, one morning. I was asleep, knocked out sleep, good sleep, and he woke me up. I grabbed the Bible, and he said, "Start reading the Bible." I said, "Where do you want me to start at?" He said, "Just start reading." So I started in Genesis chapter 1. And I began to read Genesis chapter 1. But when you get to the part where he says, "And God said, let there be light," he told me to stop right there. He said, "Where did I stop speaking at?" His quotations ends when he said, "Let there be light." Doesn't say he said anything else after that. So he said, well, anywhere else in the scriptures you read, somebody else wrote it. I didn't write it. I didn't suggest them to write it. When I say what I say, that's it. I don't need to add anything to it. So, and that just blew my mind when the Father shared that with me, and he showed me how to start using the interlinear. You have to use the interlinear to pick this stuff apart. You have to use etymology to pick this stuff apart, because people have placed, like you showed in Jeremiah 8, people have placed lies in there. And the only way to best out the lie is by using etymology, because the word etymology means truth. That very word means truth. So that's the only by using etymology. You can't. Once you start, see, that's the trick that they get most of us with. They try to tell you that languages are so different from one another. They have nothing to do with each other. That's a lie. All languages borrow from each other. So the word would have had to originate from somewhere first to be able to borrow it in countless different other languages. So, we have to start using our reasoning facilities or faculties that the Father gave us. He gave us the ability to think and to reason. If a word sounds a particular way, more than likely that's what it means. So if I say profit, somebody's making money off of me. Okay, so it sounds like it actually is. It can't be any other way.
And what would you say to people who, let's say, they got 1 foot in Christianity and 1 foot out, and they're afraid of blaspheming the Holy Spirit if they start going into etymology, or even start to question, to ask critical questions about New Testament text or doctrine that they learned? You have anything on that?
Well, the Father wants you to know everything. He doesn't want you to be a mat for somebody to wipe their feet on, because that's what you end up actually doing if you limit yourself. Whenever you limit yourself, you become a pawn of somebody else. So, the Father, all knowledge comes from Him. So, whenever anybody that has ever written anything, they're inspired. They'll tell you they get an inspiration, whether it's from if you want to say a devil, or whatever, if that's what you want to believe, or you want to say the Creator, if that's what you would have. You get an inspiration from somewhere. You don't just, do it by osmosis. You get an inspiration. What is inspiring you to do that? So it's something outside of you that's inspiring you internally to do what you're doing. So you have to be able to actually be able to boil that down, basically, and to put it into a another inspiration. So, so that's what we have to do. And we have to, like I said, you have to be able to reason. You have to be able to use your mind and think. Because that's what they've done to, like you said earlier, they actually have dumbed us down, turned our minds off from thinking with these primary and secondary schoolings. They've actually taught us how not to think.
So, Darrell, I got a question for you. Is this something, let's say somebody who, didn't graduate from high school, let's say they graduated from high school, a lot of our people are in that situation. Is this something that they can actually learn to do if they can struggle through it? Does it get easier and more comfortable? Do they gain confidence? I mean, will they be discouraged? I mean, what's your opinion for people who are, 1 foot in Christianity, 1 foot out? They've been miseducated. They're listening to you speak and they're saying, wow, how am I going to ever get to the level that this brother is on?
Yeah, everything is baby steps. The Father, when he woke me up to these truths, it was a small process. He had me to start going through the scriptures and actually rewriting scriptures. That's what he wanted me to do. First, he had me to just concentrate on one word, then a sentence, then a paragraph. So you will actually gain confidence the more you do something. So we're human. We learn. We can learn. It's not that we can't learn. It's the fact that we don't put the effort forth to learn. It's like you said earlier about being afraid. You don't have to be afraid. Fear won't kill you. Inaction will possibly kill you. Okay, so we have to act on some things. Even you can still have the fear there, but the fact that you're acting, that's the best thing for you.
Mm-hmm. And what about curiosity? I can tell by your comments. Can you talk about curiosity?
Oh yes, curiosity is great. You got, like I said, you have to have, a drive. Hopefully, like I said, when I read, I actually become more curious, and you have to look up. Most people when they read, they don't want to pick up a dictionary and don't want to go through the steps of trying to really figure out what the person is writing. No, you have to do that. You have to be able to, comprehend what the writer is trying to say. There's hidden. There's sometimes there's messages. It's just like this writer here. There's some things he's not saying, but he's saying. You have to unveil it. And that's the process of learning. Some things aren't going to be so obvious all the time because people have to sometimes speak in code. And you have to be able to catch it.
Mm-hmm. So these things are possible for you scholars. You're going to start where you are, and it might be difficult, but with persistence, it's going to become easier. And with persistence, you're going to become more curious, and the more curious you become, the more that something inside of you is going to drive you. Your inner drive is going to push you to do it. And all of a sudden, you're going to find yourself on autopilot. You're going to find yourself being a very highly educated person. All right. So that's what's going to happen if you listen. If you listen, take to heart what Darrell-El is telling you. And I hope y'all appreciate his story. I find his advice and his comments to be on point. Hey, Darrell-El, is there any way that people can reach you, or do you have any social media that they can follow you on?
I don't have any social media. I have an email, and I generally, when people send me their email, once I get their email, I'll forward, information and things that I, things that the Father's shown me, in free books and things of that nature. Because like I said, I don't. It's not none of my stuff. None of the knowledge I have is mine. None of the knowledge that anyone has is personally theirs. And I give freely because it was freely given to me. So
Okay. Well, would you like to give the scholars in the audience your email? If not, okay. But if you want, you're welcome to do so.
I can give my email. Yeah, it's DrYasapa7@gmail.com.
All right, y'all. That's DrYasapa7@gmail.com. Reach out to the brother if you have any questions. He's excellent in terms of sending people info. I know that for a fact. I can speak to that. And he's not going to email you pushing doctrine or asking you to buy anything. All right, I can guarantee you he's not going to do that. So reach out to the brother, take advantage of what he's offering. And Darrell, I want to say I appreciate you so much, man, for holding it down in the comment section. I think I've already mentioned to you that I value you, and I need you on these live streams, man, helping me out in the comments. I really, really appreciate it. And also breaking the ice. So, y'all, we got some good people amongst us who are doing their role, right? They're doing their role to make things happen. So it's time for y'all to step up now and do what you have to do to push things forward, because nothing will happen until you do something. So, Darrell, you got anything else before I continue with presenting this? All right. Make sure y'all reach out to Darrell-El7@gmail.com. Reach out to the brother. Take advantage of the free research he's giving you, free books and everything. All right. And I can guarantee you he's not pushing anything for you to join, anything for you to buy, or anything for you to believe. I know that for a fact. All right. So we're on page 20. We're dealing with the deity whose name is spelled Jesus, highlighted here on the screen. All right, that's where we were. Us is the Latin suffix. Again, the word is JES. The word is JES, and it has a Latin termination, which is called a Latin suffix. The word JES plus the Latin suffix US together spells Jesus. Okay, thus we see that deity whose name is spelled JES with the title Christus. All right, Christus. When you look at that word, you should also see the Latin suffix, right? Don't you see the Latin suffix right there? There's a Latin suffix us. There is the Latin suffix us. So you see the word Christ plus the Latin suffix us. Christ plus the Latin suffix us together. Christ, us, Christus. Okay, so now let's continue reading. I want to read this because I don't want to miss any detail. So let's read. Bottom of page 20. Thus, the deity whose name is spelled Jesus, Christus, is good Latin. Understand what the author just wrote. Christus, JES plus the Latin suffix US, Christ plus the Latin suffix US, Christus is good Latin. It is good Latin. But JC, the Christ figure, is neither good Latin nor good English. Let's go to the page top of 21. So now, again, it's good Latin to add that US suffix. but it is not good English, and it is not, matter of fact, let me highlight that. See, it says, but JC the Christ is neither good Latin nor good English, nor, let's continue reading. Let me scroll up. Nor good sense. Okay, so why is that? Well, Darrell-El just alluded to it, didn't he? If y'all comprehended everything that the brother said. Page 21 rather. Let's continue reading from the top. Okay, so now remember, it is not good English. This is not good Greek. Let's continue. And here's why. For in taking away the Latin termination, for in taking away the Latin suffix us from Christus, to render it in English Christ. Y'all understand that? So in English, we say Christ. In Latin, it's Christus. Christus with the Latin suffix us. In English, you remove the Latin suffix us, you get Christ. For in taking away the Latin termination from Christus, to render it in English as Christ, we should also take away the Latin termination from the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S, and render that name in English as J-E-S. So why are they removing the Latin suffix us from Christus in English to give you Christ, but in English they keep the Latin suffix J-E-S-U-S? No, it should be consistent. Instead of J-E-S-U-S, it should just be what? J-E-S. So why did they not remove the Latin suffix for the deity JC, the Christ figure? Why did they keep that Latin suffix? That's the issue. Now let's continue reading. Let me highlight so y'all can see where we are at. The author continues. The Greek word for the deity J-E-S-U-S being, and I believe this is Isus or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it in Greek. All right, Isus, Zeus, okay, which is precisely the same adoption of the Latin termination into Greek as our deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S is in adoption of it into English. And one among the 10,000 proofs that betray let me read that again, y'all. Let me read that again. All right. Is one among the 10,000 proofs that betray the monkish Latin origin of our New Testament. Did you get that big news? Did you pick up on that big news? The monkish Latin origin of our New Testament. I don't think y'all understood me. The author is telling you right here that looking simply, excuse me, looking at the etymology, simply by looking at the etymology of J-E-S-U-S with its Latin termination, U-S, and its word, the original word or the base, J-E-S, translated into English as J-E-S-U-S, which is poor, right? It's an error to have that Latin termination in English. Okay? They've demonstrated this to us because instead of translating Christ as Christus, Christ with this Latin termination, they removed the Latin termination from Christ. they did not remove the Latin termination from Jesus. So why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Were they stupid? No. The Greek word for Jesus being Isus, which is precisely the same adoption of Latin termination into Greek. In other words, the author is telling you, let me highlight that. In other words, the author is telling you that they kept the Latin termination even in the Greek translation. Y'all see that? They kept the Latin termination, the Latin suffix, even in the Greek translation. Okay, so now basically they just told on themselves. They just told us something. Let me highlight this for y'all again. I want y'all to think. Think. The Greek word for Jeus being Isus, which is precisely the same adoption of the Latin termination into Greek. In other words, in Latin, they're using the base word Jes, and they added the Latin termination us. But remember, this is Greek. This is Greek. So why are they using a Latin termination? This is Greek. And they did the same thing in English, but let's deal with the Greek right now. What the author is saying, the reason why that Latin term, let me say this. Your scholars, all the Bible translators, up until recently, have said that the New Testament was written in Greek. If it was written in Greek, why does it have a Latin termination? Again, if it was written in Greek, why are Latin suffixes there? If it was originally written in Greek, why are Latin suffixes mixed in with the Greek? There should be no Latin suffixes. Question is, how did they get there? Everybody see that? Here's the answer. Look at the highlight. Look at the highlight here. Let me highlight this whole thing for y'all. Here's the highlight. Let me read it. Excuse me. The author is saying here, as our Jesus is an adoption of it into English, it is one of among 10,000 proofs. In other words, the author is saying that there's 10,000 or more. In other words, a whole bunch of linguistics evidence that the New Testament was originally written in Latin, because there are Latin suffixes and probably much more mixed in with the Greek. So if the New Testament was written in Greek, there should be no Latin. The author is saying there's 10,000, or in other words, there's a whole bunch of Latin mixed in with Greek. Clearly, there should be no Latin mixed in with Greek. All right. Again, as our JES US is an adoption of it, that is the Latin suffix US, into English, is one of among 10,000 proofs that betray the monkish Latin origin of our New Testament. That is to say, that the Latin and not the Greek was the first language. The Latin was the first language. The Latin and not the Greek was the first language in which the contents of the sacred diegesis of Egypt was brought to the knowledge of the priests of Europe. I'm going to drop the microphone if you can just imagine that. The Gospels, the author has just told us, the Gospels were originally written in the Egyptian language. I believe that would be Coptic Egyptian. I'm not sure. All right. Gospels were originally written in Egypt. Egypt. Translated out of the Egyptian language into Latin. translated out of Latin into Greek. The Gospels were originally written by the ancient Egyptians. The Gospels were originally written by the ancient Egyptians, according to the author. They were translated out of the ancient Egyptian language into Latin, They were translated out of Latin into Greek. They were translated out of Latin into Greek. You must know that. Let me read it again. As our JESUS is an adoption of it into English, this JESUS, JES plus the Latin suffix US is one of among 10,000 proofs that betray the monkish Latin origin of our New Testament. That is to say, or what I mean is, that is to say that the Latin and not the Greek was the first language in which the contents of the sacred diegesis of Egypt, the original Gospels, were written in the sacred diegesis of Egypt. Okay, Latin was the first language in which the contents of the sacred diegesis of Egypt was brought to the knowledge of the priests of Europe. Brought to the knowledge of the priests of Europe. Brought to the knowledge of the priests of Europe. The priests of Europe got this knowledge of the Gospels written in Latin. Is that clear? Is that clear? The translation was made from Latin into the Greek. And a Greek original pretended, in other words, the Gospels were not originally written in Greek. It's pretended, made up story. It's a lie. The translation was made from the Latin into the Greek. And a Greek original pretended. In other words, these priests of Europe, when they got it, they translated it into Greek and they said, oh, this is the original. The original was written in Greek. See how the character of the people, right? Character, liars. The translation was made from the Latin into the Greek, and a Greek original pretended. Not till after it was found expedient to oppose a check to the advice of curiosity and to throw a thicker veil over the mysteries of the gospel craft. In other words, they wanted to fool you. The European priest got the Gospels and they wanted to mystify it. Why mystify it? Mystify it so that you can start to be confused and wonder, and then they can more easily capture your imagination to control you, empty your pockets, take your wife, take your son, take your daughter, take everything you got, Moors, take everything you got, and then make you their what? Property in the end. All right. Unum sanctum, doctrine of discovery, manifest destiny, all of these things. All right. Let's continue. Had the Greek been the original, the Greek for JESUS must have had the Greek termination OS. Scholars take special note. Take special note. Had the Greek been the original language, the Greek spelling of the deity's name, what deity? JESUS. Had the Greek language been the original language, the Greek for JES, the Greek spelling for JESUS must have had the Greek termination OS and have been Isos. Okay, so in other words, it would have, in English, it would have been spelled JESO. Let me repeat that. Not in English, in Greek, it would have been spelled JESOS or IESOS or whatever this Greek is. That's why I'm not saying it. Let me try to highlight it for y'all. See, y'all have to do this on your own because I don't know anything about the Greek. All right, but it's somewhere in here. Somewhere in here. All right. Okay, so let's see, where is it? Somewhere in here, yo. Oh, here it is. Here it is. That's the Greek. So y'all can do your follow-up research on that, all right? So now let's continue. It says here, and I'm going to read this so you can get everything. The translation was made from the Latin into Greek, and the Greek original pretended, right? They pretend that to this day, that the original Gospels were written in English. Not till after it was found expedient to expose a check to advance of curiosity and to throw a thicker veil, that means to hide it even more deeply, over the mysteries of the gospel craft. Had the Greek been the original language the Gospels were written in, the Greek spelling of JESUS must have had the Greek termination, the Greek suffix OS, and had been I, whatever that Greek is right there, with the suffix OS. But the Greek spelling is maintained with the Latin suffix US. So this is bad Greek, right? You can't mix Latin and Greek and call it good Greek. And nothing more than the Latin JESUS exhibited in Greek characters. In other words, it is Latin and Greek mixed together. They made the mistake of leaving the Latin suffix US on the word when they should have put the Greek suffix OS. Simple as day. The written documents the diegesis from which first the Latin and subsequently the so falsely called original Greek was derived. Okay, so have necessarily perished. So what is this telling us? The author is saying that the original Latin translation and the so-called original Greek translations are no longer available. They're either destroyed, right, or somebody got them locked away. Most likely they're decomposed. I mean, I have no idea because I don't know when they were written, right? But they were written sometime in the Middle Ages. All right. These are the major points that I wanted y'all to see. The original Gospels are of Egyptian origin, the diegesis of Egypt. They were translated out of the Egyptian language into Latin. The Gospels were translated from Latin, then into Greek. And who got the Gospels and translated them from Latin into Greek? It was who? The priests of Europe. Now, are these priests of Europe the Visigoths or the Goths and the Vandals, rather? Are they the Goths and the Vandals? Are they the Goths and the Vandals? Or are they Moors working in cahoots with hybrids? I guess we'll never know. I guess we'll never know. But I strongly suggest that everybody keep in mind Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. Everybody keep in mind Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. It is what it is, right? So let's go back and take a look at some comments here. All right, so let's look at the comments. All right, Shalom, Roderick's point of view. Good to see you, my brother. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. All right, I'm going to go through the comments here. Darrell-El write, names ending in quote US, that's suffixes US in Greek, references Zeus. Roderick's point of view, evening, Islam and Shalawama, Roderick's point of view. Darrell-El writes, US, Darrell-El writes, US, oops, could mean you stupid if you believe in in the deity whose name is spelled Jesus. He continues, the name Jesus is a Catholic creation. Yes, indeed it is. Yes, indeed it is. All right, Roderick's point of view writes, good to see you, Roderick's point of view. Welcome. Another observation I find interesting is if it's written in Greek, why did King James come to the Americas to translate the Bible in 1604? Excellent point. How many people ever thought of that? I know I never thought of that. Excellent point, Roderick's point of view. Another observation I find interesting is if it's written in Greek, why did King James come to the Americas to translate the Bible in 1604? Excellent point. That's something that I never thought of. All right, Darrell-El writes, either the Book of Jubilees or Jasher speaks of Noah giving each of his sons writings to take with them when they migrated. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Roderick's point of view writes, if it came from Egypt, then that explains why a lot of the stories match those of Egypt in the New Testament. Most definitely. Most definitely. And it explains a whole lot more. A whole lot more. A whole lot more. Excellent observation, Roderick's point of view. Darrell-El writes, control means false journey. That's right. They got y'all on that, what do you call it? That, what do you call the wheel that the rats or the mouse run on? Right. Keep you busy going nowhere, exhausted. I feel sorry for y'all if y'all still into Christianity and religion. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because I remember my struggles, right? I remember the pain of being in Christianity. And I think that's all religion, to be honest with you. I think they're all experiencing the same type of trauma. I just know Christianity because that was the trap I fell into. Yeah, Darrell-El writes, spinning wheel. All right. Darrell-El writes, spinning wheel. All right. So let's see. Where are we? Let me put the call-in number back up. Call-in number is 530-554. Where's our call-in number? 530-554-9419. Oh, here we are. All right, so y'all, Darrell-El has broken the ice. Somebody else step up. Even though you're scared, you can do it. Show some courage. Educate your brethren. Merry-go-round. Yeah, they got us on the merry-go-round. The wheel is spinning, y'all. So jump off. Jump off. All you got to do is jump off. Once you jump, the hard part is just making the decision to jump. Once you jump, trust me, you'll land on your feet. All right. So let's continue. The author writes on page 21. We're on page 21, about midway down. He continues, but Christian ignorance in mistaking its fable for history, in mistaking this fairy tale for history, he's talking about the Gospels. Now, this is the author's point of view, okay? And committing itself to criticism. And committing itself to criticism, that means having questions asked. By fixing an era, that means a time, that's ER, In other words, they made a huge mistake because they put a timestamp on it. But Christian ignorance, in mistaking its fairy tale for history and committing itself to criticism. How? Because they put a time stamp on it in making its fable for history and committing itself to criticism by fixing an era, right? That would be the birth of the Christ figure, and a scene that would be Bethlehem in Judea, when and where its imagined events occurred, has supplied the means of demonstrating the utter falsehood of its pretenses. In other words, they said this happened somewhere around 1 BCE, 0 BCE, 3 BCE, 6 BCE. They put a time stamp on it. They said it happened in what? Bethlehem of Judea, right? The Mount of Olives and all of these things. And what else? What other big mistake did they make? A scene. A scene. Well, when we're dealing with Matthew chapter 2, verse 2, the scene is taking place in a stable. In a stable where the Christ figure was born. And a star in the east. And what else? What else? There's a second temple. There's a Mount of Olives, right? There's all of the life and ministry of the Christ figure. Well, guess what huge mistake they did? Now you can use science to go back and check it. You can go back and check history. You can look at what? Astronomy. You can look at astronomy. Now you can start to make correlations. You can study it scientifically. They made a huge blunder. A huge blunder. They exposed themselves. That's what the author is saying. That's what the author is saying. That's why he's calling them stupid. Roderick's point of view writes, nice to see both of you guys tonight. I'm at work. It's good to see you too, Roderick's point of view. Actually, I was looking to see if you would be here because I also appreciate having you in the comment section. Also need you. You and Darrell-El. There's a few others. I want to say a special thanks, everybody, for Roderick's point of view and Darrell-El for taking the time to come here, holding it down in the comment section, giving us good information. And y'all can ask these brothers questions, reach out to them. And from my experience with them, they're competent and they've been willing to help. So y'all take advantage of that. All right. So thank you both. So now let's continue. So this is the basis of our application of the sciences, right? They also made the mistake of saying that it was written in Greek, because now we can go and apply the science and see whether they're telling the truth and see what those stories really mean. It was through the science or through etymology that we were able to ascertain that Greek is not the original language, that it was originally written in Latin, right? That's how we did that. All right, well, that's how the author says it was done. It was through the use of science. Now, through history, which is a science, the author is telling us that the Gospels were originally written in Egypt. It is an Egyptian piece of work. It is an Egyptian piece of work. Roderick's point of view continues to write, speaking of making a time mistake, Herod the Great died in 6 BC before Christ explained. Yeah, before Christ explained that one. Excellent point. Herod died in 6 BC. There was no Christ figure, right? And if he was just born. Okay, I've heard some people say he was born between 6 and 0 BC. But either way, it's an impossibility. Herod the Great died in 6 BCE, y'all. So Roger's point of view is saying, how do you explain that? He continues, then they changed the time to BC and pushed Christ's birth back in time to fit in or to fit it. Yes, indeed. So there's a lot of problems with their stories, y'all. A lot of problems with their stories. Excellent point, Roger's point of view. Y'all see why I appreciate these men being with us. See the type of quality information that you get. How many years of research would you have had to do to get that piece of information that Roderick's point of view gave you? How many years of research would have had to have done to get the information that Darrell-El gave you about Moors? You see how they cut the time? You didn't invest one penny. You didn't invest one penny in a formal education. You didn't struggle through reading lexicons, encyclopedia. You did no work. You showed up and you got something free from these brothers. That's why you should be here learning astrotheology. All right? I don't know everything. But you show up here and you are getting an education beyond belief, and it's free. All right? That's why you need to continue coming here. That's why you need to tell your friends and your family to start coming to these live stream presentations to get an education. And don't be selfish and take this information and hoard it and not tell other people. All right? Because you got people, not just me, but others like Roderick, like Darrell-El, who are giving you what I'm sure they did some work and probably some suffering and some sacrifice to get this information. All right, so don't hoard it. Tell people about it. All right? Don't be egotistical with this stuff. And I'm not talking to anybody specifically, but I'm talking to you. If you feel offended, I'm talking to you. All right? Because that means that you are the person who's guilty of it. All right, now let's continue. It continues. Inasmuch as we are able to deduce positive evidence of the existence and prevalence of precisely the same story. What same story? The story of the Gospels in India, in Persia, in Egypt, and Greece for more than 1,500 years before the date assigned to the pretended occurrence of the Gospels in years before the Christ figure is ever said to have come into existence. Call-in number is 530-554-9419. 530-554-9419. All right. Let's see what else. But taking the words of the Greek text, the highest written authority to which we can familiarly appeal in their most simple and primitive significancy, and suffering no suborned or forestalled sense to pervert us from the sense which those words would naturally convey, we shall find it far, infinitely far, from any such historical or even pretended historical sense. Note, I want to show this. Let me highlight this, y'all. Excuse me. Let me highlight this. Now, this is the author who's an educated man on the topic. Notice what he's saying. Let me highlight this. Excuse me. Let me highlight this before I read it. So let's go ahead and read it. It says, our fraudulent English translation. Our fraudulent English translation. In other words, they wrote lies into it. They used these documents to create religion. our fraudulent English translation, and still more fraudulent preachers of the Gospels that would include your Hebrew Israelite generals, captains, officers, your mores, Moshes, pimps, and pushers. All right. Now, do all of them know? I have no idea what they know. I can only know that if it's 10,000 wolves at the door and 1,000 of them might be good, I ain't opening the door. I'm not stupid. Unless I'm under what? The God spell. All right, so we're going to stop right here. So we're going to pick up on page 22 with our conversation tomorrow. All right, we're going to pick up. Thanks everybody for joining me. And again, special thank you to those people who are holding it down in the comments section. Really, really appreciate that. If you like the content that you're getting here, if you, or even if you just like me, right? If you want to learn more, then feel free to, or I encourage you to buy our books, subscribe to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course, right? We have a list of books, a book list in the description area of this video. So go ahead and order those. Excuse me. Order those. And if you want to contribute financially, a cash donation, then you can make a cash donation to my Cash App, which is $DrYasapa, 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 $DrYasapa. You want to make a financial contribution, $DrYasapa, or you can do it with our Cash App, all right? You can send it to our Cash App, which is cashapp.me, cashapp.me, /Zion Law School. So those are the both ways that you can support us with the cash donation, all right? So thanks, everybody. I enjoyed this. Thanks, Darrell-El, for calling in, breaking the ice. I'm sure we're going to get more callers calling in, and we're going to do very, very rich content tomorrow. All right. So I'm DrYasapa from Zion Law School. Islam to all of the Moors. Shalom to all of the Moors. We'll be back tomorrow with more of this outstanding God spell breaking content.